Looks like it, right? What do you think?
He's going in that.
I don't want to. No, you can try. Good hike, boys.
Yeah,
Oh my god, yeah. I'm happy to not be dead.
Have I got your attention now?
Have you ever had them rub the thing? Have you ever been to the airport and had them rub the thing on your hands to see if you have bomb-making material on your hands?
No, what is that?
It was the one time I was on an international flight. I got selected for that, and they rubbed this thing on your hands, and it would show if you had bomb-making material. But I thought, do they not wash their hands after they make the bomb? I would wash my hands very thoroughly after I made a bomb.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably has a smell. You'd probably smell it on your hands, whatever you use to make bombs. I'm sure it's pretty potent stuff if it, explodes.
I imagine it's probably that kind of very chemically burning smell. Like, I was sleepwalking for a little while, and what I would do when I was sleepwalking was I would just find objects around the house and bring them back to bed.
Yep.
And one of the first times I ever did it, it was a bottle of tea tree oil, which is very strong. And it opened in the bed.
Oh.
And it spilled in the bed. So I woke up around like 2 a.m, smelling this, and I was genuinely under the impression that maybe there was some kind of chemical weapons attack happening, like in downtown Portsmouth or something, because the smell was so strong and so, like abrasive. Mm-hmm. And that was the only conclusion I could come to was, yeah, something. It's that kind of thing.
Considering the situation,
like.
That's probably a reasonable thing to want to think, honestly.
But what if it turns out, though? What if it turns out that these bombs smell like cinnamon?
Well, then that's an upside to bombs are fine. Then I don't.
Vanilla, and cinnamon, and just like a little hint of like cardamom. It's just, you just
a little
want,
nutmeg
like, a
in this
nice
bomb,
tea.
real quick. Just a little cumin. Oh man. I sleep. Was your sleepwalking stress induced?
I think it might have been. I don't know.
I sleepwalked one time, and mine was.
Yeah. So it happened to you too?
Yeah. The one time it happened. Actually, I think I made a YouTube video about it like the day after because it was during one of those vlog every day in Aprils or whatever. And it was finals, and I was making videos every day, and I wasn't sleeping very much, and like I was just. I probably had a glass of wine or some shit, so I'm sure it was just the perfect shitstorm of these things will make you sleepwalk.
Yeah.
Because it was the only time I'd ever known that I did it. I woke up, like, on top of my comforter, like, fully clothed. I had, in my left hand, my laptop. In my right hand, a Nintendo Wii controller. And I walked into my living room just to, like the hangover or some shit. Like, okay, what did I do? And which is the weirdest feeling ever because I'd never experienced that. Like,
yeah,
this is so strange. And so I walk into my living room, and the Swedish "Let the Right One In" was paused at 20 minutes into the movie. And yeah, what a weird fucking day. I'll watch the rest of it, by the way. I'm like, I picked this out subconsciously. I have to watch this movie. It's like my spirit movie now.
Nice. Yeah, I was doing it for about a week. I was sleepwalking on and off, and my biggest fear was going outside. I just thought, what if I get to the door? And it's funny, I'm not worried about it now that I live in a house, and that I haven't lived there that long, because the process of leaving a place, you know how like sometimes if you've lived somewhere long enough, you've done something enough times, you could walk out the door, lock the apartment, leave, go, do 6 things, and then try to remember the process of leaving, and you can't.
Yeah.
Because you did it so automatically. That's what worried me about the sleepwalking thing, was I thought, on autopilot, I can leave, I can get into a car, I can start a car, I can drive away. I can do all those things on autopilot. So how do I know that I won't do it while I'm asleep?
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out. Now, at least, I feel like worst case scenario.
I trip over some shit and wake up.
Yeah, I could leave. I could even leave my house. I would probably just walk into the backyard. So,
sure.
And I would never make it down to the river before waking up. So I'm pretty safe.
And to add to the scariness, and this this definitely won't ease your mind, but like, have you ever been so familiar with a place or a room that, I mean, like while you're awake at night, you could just, you realize like, wow, I just navigated through so much shit in pitch black dark without even thinking about it. I remember the layout of my house that well. Or you walk into a room and your hand instantly, your fingertip goes perfectly to the light switch. Like, just that stuff's weird. I'm like, I could definitely do that if I was sleepwalking. If I was sleepwalking, it would happen.
Yeah.
I don't
you know
need
what
the
the scary
lights.
thing is? Not to add to the scariness more, but they say if you're a person who's a sleepwalker, if you talk about the fact that you sleepwalk, it makes it more likely that you will.
Of course.
What kind of guitar did he play?
Do you know the Proust questionnaire? It's a famous enough questionnaire that I just kind of knew it in this inherent back of my head kind of way for years, and I recently started using it for this newsletter I write at work. It's a fairly standard set of questions, like the kind you used to see get passed around Tumblr, except maybe without, do you have any piercings? The Proust questionnaire was not written by Marcel Proust, but rather was popularized by his responses to it, which is kind of weird to me because his responses are not that great. Like, the prompt, your favorite qualities in a woman, his answer is feminine charms. Come on, Marcel. I mean, they're clearly trying to figure out if you're a boobs or a butt man. Then when asked, if not yourself, who would you be? His answer is, myself as the people whom I admire would like me to be. Real cute. When asked for his favorite color, he says, the beauty is not in the colors, but in their harmony. That is not an answer. It's just weird to me that a famous questionnaire is famous for the way a smart-ass French guy didn't answer it. Anyway, today is a short episode of the show because we've got some other ones coming up which are not quite ready. And I thought I would answer some questions. Okay, so frequent guest of the show, John Pernasek, has a question for me. What is the absolute, without a doubt, no reservations, worst movie you've ever seen?
It was not.
So there are different kinds of bad movies, right? Because the actual, most qualitatively terrible movie I've ever watched is called The Slaughterhouse Massacre. This movie was legendary among my friends in high school because we actually rented it from a video store and couldn't believe it was possible. Something so bad was on the shelves. In the, pre-streaming era, availability was an arbiter of taste. At least we thought it was. In reality, probably, I think Lionsgate Films had some kind of pay-for-play deal with the Spotlight Movie Rental Warehouse or whatever it was called. Slaughterhouse Massacre is a corny slasher movie with an incoherent mythology, but just on a much more basic level. I mean, there's a party scene that keeps switching back and forth from daylight to nighttime. Some of the dubbing is so bad, it sounds like the actors literally did it over a phone line. And in the climactic sequence where the final girl is crawling away from the killer, he literally stops moving and just stands there for a good 10 seconds while she very deliberately and awkwardly hooks her skirt on a rock so that it gets pulled off for the last few scenes. Which I appreciate, but edit that down a little. Meanwhile, there's movies like Men, Women, and Children, which is technically proficient, but just so moralizing and morally wrong-headed and just filled with such sneering fucking disdain for people. Jason Reitman's a terrible person. I used to hear him from time to time on the Slash Filmcast, where he would talk about things like the pie chart that he keeps of all the questions reporters ask him while he does press for his films, which I guess was supposed to illustrate the, inanity of entertainment reporting, but it has this kind of, proto-fascist undertone. What Jason Reitman really wants is just one newspaper. Or that he doesn't recognize that most of these people are people trying to do their jobs. And that shitty attitude comes through in his movies. Men, Women, and Children is filled with hate for men, women, and children, and mostly women. Jason Reitman, in a way, is an answer to that can you separate the art from the artist conundrum of our problematic time. You can if their work runs counter to their lives. It usually does. Not in this case. So then we have to choose between like a boring and silly moral abyss that was professionally made and a goofy, terrible slasher movie made by people who, at least presumably, are having fun doing their thing. Sometimes with a bad movie you can at least read like affection for the craft in there somewhere, but Slaughterhouse Massacre is so bad that you actually can't. Benefit of the doubt, these are guys who are passionate about sluts and murderers and tried and failed to make a watchable thing. So, how do you choose? How do you pick which one is the No Reservations worst movie? It would be helpful if there was a morally incoherent and badly made slasher film by another semi-famous filmmaker who clearly has no regard for his fellow humans. Oh, wait, there is! The answer to this question is Knock Knock by Eli Roth. Worst movie ever.
So like, well, the steam gets blown right the fuck up here.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes no sense. And so I was like, you should fix that because they're just gonna blow steam up in here.
There's not even a valve, like a vent in the wall.
David Bowie's The Single from the album Black Star.
So I thought that this question from Hey Molly, okay, would be best answered by both of us. Okay, so she says, "Hey Zach, a weird question. I had always assumed that Morgan was the older brother, because you sound/act like the younger brother, and subsequently he sounds/acts like the older brother when you're talking to him. But someone told me that isn't true. Are you twins, or is this the most equal brotherhood in existence? What's the deal?"
Wow.
I've never heard anyone say that about us before.
No, I haven't either. I mean, I kind of get it.
I think it's just because you have a lower voice than me.
Yeah, well, and I'm bigger than you, and
Yeah.
I have a beard, and I'm like, I think that it's definitely like image is why people would say that. You got like kind of like a baby face at times, you know, like.
Yeah, but like also like, but the only time that birth order's been confused other than that is people have thought that I'm older than Brittany.
Yes, yeah, that happens more often for sure.
Yes, I was just going to say, it's so weird that I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
The most I usually hear is that people think you're the oldest.
Yeah.
I'm the middle child.
Yeah.
Or, I guess in this case, sometimes people don't know I exist, but that I'm the middle child, Morgan is the youngest, or that people think you and I are twins.
Right. Which makes, all of that makes more sense to me than the idea that Morgan is older than me.
Do you know that one year when Morgan came into my classroom, granted, second graders don't have a great sense of these things, but I said to them, "Can you guess who this is?" And their first guess was, "Your dad." And I was like, "Yes, he's my dad."
Most people that we know have known us for a while.
Yeah.
So you only recently started, like, you look older than me once you started growing facial hair, and like, even when you were like 6 feet tall when you were 12, you still.
Yeah, I still looked like the baby.
You look like a 6 foot 8-year-old.
Yeah, that's crazy. I am very much the younger brother.
Yeah,
in all things.
For like, we're speaking numbers here, I'm 4 years older than you.
Yes.
But like, what about this like equal brotherhood thing? I mean, we shared a room until I moved out of the house.
Well,
so maybe, and we had like the same friends.
And my maturity came from you. You were my best friend all through our childhood.
Yeah.
And all the music, the reason that we listened to all the same music was because you found out about this music.
Right.
Specifically Arcade Fire.
That's
like,
true.
That is one of the best examples of it, of you being like, "Hey, I heard about this band," and then we went out and got Funeral. So I think that my maturity, comes from you, us sharing a room and all that, and our friends.
Yeah. I'm going to be so conscious forever now of the fact that I apparently talk to you like a younger brother.
Yeah. That gives me a little bit of joy. that does give me a little bit of joy. Well, and I always thought that I came off as like when you put out videos for me and everything like that, it's like Zach's helping out his little brother. You know what I mean?
But to her, it was like, oh, Morgan's giving his little brother with the
I'm
camera.
Throwing you a bone.
Shot. Yeah,
I'm throwing you a bone. That's really funny.
I got an anonymous question too. Is your life how you imagined it when you were younger? No. But I'm not totally sure how I pictured it. I remember, as a young man, feeling like I had a sense of what I wanted my life to be, but I don't remember what that sense was. And what's funny is, I remember being afraid of exactly this, of losing my connection to teenage punk Zach. But I didn't understand that the mechanism of losing that connection was incremental growth. Like a gradual, deepening understanding of what I wanted in life, what I was actually good at versus what I wanted to be good at, and even what I actually enjoy versus what I just thought I should enjoy. It takes a long time, and I'm still mostly wrong about myself, but I'm less wrong than I used to be. When you're a teenager, you think of all this stuff as compromise, not growth. You think of it as selling out or giving yourself away. Because growing often means moving outward and taking larger concerns and the concerns of others into account, which can be boring, but also good and healthy. I've become distrustful now of famous artistic types who paint their path to success as uncompromising and grueling. Like I got where I am today because I had no backup plan, and I lived and breathed my dreams every minute of every day. Because, once you get there, once you become super famous, what do you have to say? What did you learn about? What does it end up being worth? What does a person whose life becomes exactly how they imagined it as a young person, what does that person end up becoming? Donald Trump, right? So yeah, my answer to this question is no, and I sort of hope that ends up being true for everybody. If you're a young person listening to this, I hope you remain true to yourself, and that the way you'll be able to tell you succeeded is if you can't even remember what you wanted as a teenager. You have to be open. No true path is ever going to be very straight. It's like that thing in Super Mario Brothers where if you did the right weird dance in like the first level, you could skip ahead to the very end of the game. What was the point of that? You missed all the weird, cool shit in the middle. And, the parts where everything was underwater, but you missed all of it.
All right, so everyone has 2 cards.
Just randomly sitting on the bar.
Yes, we just.
Zach, you're the small blind.
Zach, you're the small blind. Of course. 10 cents.
You put in 10 cents.
10 cents.
10 cents is red or white?
White. Brian, you're the big
I
blind.
see your bet.
No.
Where do I knock on the
So
table?
now, Jory, you can either call that or you can fold.
20 cents? Oh, that's easy.
You gotta put one more to call. 2 whites to call. Alright, so he's out.
Fold.
Josh.